I am your host, Nicole Will, and we're so happy you're here as we navigate the world with your aging loved one. We are here to come alongside older adults, family members, and the senior living community as we explore the world of aging and elder care with helpful resources, informative interviews, and approachable conversation. We get to do this together, so join us on our journey, and this is the Will Gather podcast. As Teepa Snow says, to change the culture of dementia care to be more inclusive, more knowledgeable, and more skillful in order to truly support all brains and people in our community. And she is doing just that. Teepa Snow is my guest today. She is one of the world's leading advocates and educators for anyone living with dementia and other forms of brain change. She is an occupational therapist with over 40 years of experience, not only in a clinical setting, but also academic. Teepa founded the company Positive Approach to Care, and they are now collaborating to improve dementia care. In over 30 countries worldwide, Positive Approach to Care provides not only online and in-person services, training and products, and educational resources. Teepa's ability to connect with others, provide information, and offer visual cues and support is life-giving and saving for families and professionals. It was hard for me to narrow down our conversation today, so I will tell my listeners there is a wealth of knowledge that you do need to explore with Teepa at teepasnow.com. She is available on social media. I have admired Teepa for many years and I've learned so much from her. This is a major highlight for me in my work, and I am so happy to introduce to you Teepa Snow. Good morning.
Hello. Good
Hello.
morning. How are
Hi.
you, Nicole?
I'm good. It's so nice to meet you. Thank you
Well,
so much
thanks.
for doing this.
You are welcome.
This is such a fun day for me. I finally have the opportunity to meet you. I don't know if you know this, but I've been watching and learning from you for so many years. And it started when I was therapeutic recreation director in my career, and I'd go to conferences and it was like, Teepa Snow, you have to learn from her. It's just, you are the number one person, and I'm just so thankful you're here today. Thank you.
Oh,
Welcome.
thanks, Nicole. No, I mean, I've been doing this a long time. So, some people have known me quite some time. And then some people are like, oh, I just found her on TikTok or I
Yeah.
just found her on YouTube. It's like, and some of it's because there are always new people involved. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's because we don't know what we don't know until we find something. And then we find something that works for us.
Right.
And it's like, oh, I want to share something because I found something that seems to be helpful, at
Yes.
least to me. And I
Yeah.
think that's cool that we do that
It
as human beings.
is. Yeah, we get excited that we're learning. And I think that's what I have always gravitated towards your work, is that you have the ability to connect with others, provide such practical tools that people can really grasp onto and go, okay, I see that, because most often it's visual, which I think so many of us are those visual learners and feel supported because we finally feel like we've got some life-giving tips that okay, we're not
Yeah.
alone.
So
We
the
can do
difference,
this.
yeah. So the difference between me just going and me going, it means, yeah, I got what you
Mhm.
said and it made sense to me and it makes me relax a little bit.
Mhm.
So I think that's the visual cortex in the human brain is huge. And so I think recognizing how important it is in taking in data is just vital, especially when somebody's ability to do language might be
Mhm.
compromised.
Mhm.
And it's
Yeah.
compromised, in fact.
Right, right. So true, so true. So I know about your background, but all of my listeners might not. Can you share a little bit about how you got to this place and started teepasnow.com and the positive approach to care?
Yeah. So it started when I was a kid and my grandfather moved in, step number one or
Mm-hmm.
two. And then I worked with kids with developmental disabilities as they were being, what's the nice way to say it? Well, I'll just say dumped out of state facilities where they
Mm-hmm.
were placed and told people told their families, you don't know how to do this. Let us do it. And then they went, oh, wait, no, this is harder than we thought. This isn't working well. Let's send it back. And so I was involved in community programs for sort of bringing kids back into families who were older and had challenges. So that was my teenage years. And then a little later, I was doing support and care when I was in college as an NA, a nursing assistant, before there was a certification. And then I had my grandma who started developing another kind of dementia different than my grandfather before that. And I went to Duke, and I was a zoology major because I thought, oh, you know what, maybe I'll either go into special ed or medicine. You know, after going through undergrad, it was like, oh, man, what do I want to do? So after a year or two of trying to explore and working at an adult day and kid special needs population day center in the Durham area, I went to UNC, got my master's in occupational therapy, and ever since have always worked in one way or another with people with brain changes, stroke, disabilities, head injury, spent a good bit of time in head injury, and then really got into geriatrics and then went into dementia as my specialty practice. I worked at Durham Tech as a program director. I worked at UNC in the School of Medicine. I did Duke School of Nursing. And then I worked with the Alzheimer's Association in Eastern North Carolina as their education director. And during all that, it was like, I've got something a little different with that OT background and the background and the skill. And so I said, you know what, let me do this different. Let me do this bigger. And we did Accepting the Challenge, which was one of the very first DVDs that came out, really looking, how do you support people living with dementia? And since then, it's been the company together, started doing work all around the US and Canada. Now we're in Australia, UK, Poland, Israel. So we have Italy, we have people, South Africa, Malaysia. Yes. So, you know, dementia's everywhere. And we know that. So that's what we do these days. I do it. And I have a company too that helps out.
Yeah. Yeah, you do have a great support team. I was with a friend of mine, and we actually, I think it was the beginning of COVID, and we took one of your training courses online just to dive in a little bit deeper, and we loved it. And the team of people that you put together are so great and kind, and I just encourage everyone to look into that. It was enjoyable for us, and we learned so much. You are such a pioneer, I believe, of changing how we offer dementia care. And it's so meaningful, and I'm so thankful that you stepped into that work. And I believe you were actually one of the first, or maybe the first, to create the term care partner. Why is that distinction important?
Yeah, so I don't know, you know, so I don't know for sure where it got created. I know I was one of the first folks that started using it in terms of dementia. People said, no, we give care to people living with dementia. They can't really, you know, they can't partner with you. I mean, you're doing all the work, and it's like, I beg to differ. And the reason I say we need to be care partners, because when there's a giver, there's got to be a receiver. It makes it an unequal relationship from the very outset, that I'm giving you something and you should be grateful and you should be thankful that you can receive my gift of care. And it's like, well, if I, as the person who's getting the care, don't feel that way, it doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like punishment or something. And I think if we can see ourselves as partners, that in a partnership, I really pay attention to the other person's interests, abilities, I get their permission. And for me, what I know about dementia is the first and foremost rule is I must seek and receive permission in some way or form or fashion, or it really isn't care and support. It's the potential of having someone who feels trapped or neglected or abused or frustrated with me or compromised in some way. And that's not my job. I mean, that is not what I'm in this for. And so I think the more I recognize this has to be done with permission, therefore I need to partner, I need to offer, and you need to accept. And that's part of a partnership, which is real different, I think, when people see the task and the giving of care as the primary. And so that for me was vital, whether it's family, whether it's staff, whether it's a friend or a professional. To me, we always must, in some form or fashion, get permission to do what we feel like is important or figure out why not.
And it's really evident too when you are training and when people can witness those different scenarios that come up, how much better that those interactions go when we can extend that offer of asking permission and meeting people where they're at. It's the dynamic, it shifts that dynamic so much.
It's totally different because what it means is whoever has capacity in whatever way they have a capacity can use that to make a difference. So for instance, Nicole, I could go, "Oh, you have something on your wall. It's that big gold round. Tell me about that."
Yes, my great aunt gave that to
Now,
me.
I want to point out that what I got her to do is show me she has memory of what that thing is.
Yeah.
She has language to describe it. She has a willingness to engage with me. And I'm finding out a lot about her abilities, and I'm building a relationship that will make a difference if I have something more intimate that I need to find out or do with her. That would be very different than me just walking out. "Hey, Nicole, it's time for your shower. Okay, I'm going to help you get up and get your clothes off."
Huge. You're building that trust. There's so much that I feel like people do get wrong, and I would love to hear your perspective on that. What about dementia do you feel that people get wrong, and what are some of those common misconceptions that we have?
Oh, I can do like maybe my top 5 is number one, by middle or late disease, it's harder on the families and the caregivers than it is on the person. It's like, where do we get off thinking that? I'm like, ooh, the perspective is really different, but I would never presume to know whether it's harder, easier, it's frustrating, it's easy. I don't know until I assess, but I know that is like a false statement. That is like so not okay. When I'm saying, "Listen, I want to go home," and you're saying this is your home, I got to tell you, both of us are in trouble, not just one of us. The second, I think, is that it's all about loss, because I don't think it is. It's about change. It's about the person really changing how they see things, how they do things, what they're able to do, what they're interested in, what they can get auditorily versus visually versus physically. And yes, if I look at it from a mature adult who has been a corporate leader or a nurse or a physician, then if I'm judging that human being by what they did immediately or a while ago, then I might say, wow, I would say they're a lot different than they used to be. But a lot of people would say, well, boy, they're hardly doing anything anymore. And I'd say, well, let's see what they are doing, because they're still alive. They're still trying to figure out the world around them. They're a curious person. They love people. They don't like people. I mean, so it's really that, like we make so many assumptions rather than really trying to figure it out. Third is people think Alzheimer's and dementia covers the waterfront. And it's like, oh boy, that's a problem. Because if you think every dementia is like Alzheimer's, or Alzheimer's and dementia are different things, both of those are inaccurate. So helping people appreciate neurodegeneration comes in many, many forms and types and causes. And dementia, as we define it, is an umbrella term, and there's lots of stuff under there. But there are other things that could give you brain change that would be helpful to still look at partnering with somebody. Is it necessarily progressive? Is it necessarily going to make life impossible ultimately if we don't figure it out? But it makes life better if we do figure out, how to help and support. And I think for me, one of the most important things is people living with dementia aren't different than they used to be, but they are. And so it's tricky because I am who I was, but now I am different, but I'm still essentially some me. And so if you don't respect me and figure out who I am and who I've been, it's going to make our relationship tough. And I think we forget some of that in the moment of trying to offer something and trying to do something. And I think it gets in our way. And I guess the last thing is try not to do this alone, because that's a really bad idea.
Yeah.
Finding how to build a support structure for yourself and build a team, whether it's a professional or a family or a community. I really do believe that we've got to build teams and we've got to build connections to make this reasonable for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, and that really leads me to my next question is what makes caring for people living with dementia so isolating for the caregiver?
Well, I think part of it is when we get in that role, we get tunnel vision. I mean, like really and truly, literally, we become tunnel visioned. In other words, I can only really look at what's in front of me because, oh my gosh, there's so much. And I start to feel overwhelmed in my primitive brain, which is not a thinking brain. It's you better pay attention to this kind of brain. And you need to not get distracted. What it makes me think is this, what I can see, this stuff, the problems, the situations. I think that's all there is, because that's how I'm confronted with it. And it's like taking a step back and going, oh, wait, there are other options here. I need to rethink this. I need to give myself some space and some options to go, do you think maybe it's me that's causing the distress? Do you think it could be the time of day? Do you think it could be maybe where we are or what we're trying to do? Wow, those are a lot of variables. I think I need help to figure this out, to talk it through, to think it through. And I think that's the biggest mistake we make is thinking I have to know it all. Yeah. I have to be it all. I have to do it all. I mean, it's just like, why? Why do you think that? It's like, well, I mean, we raise children and it's like, and you send them to school too, don't you? I mean, you used to anyway. And what happened when we tried to do our work and our kid care and our family care and our during COVID, how stressed out were people? Yeah. Really stressed.
Yeah. We're not built to take it all on. We really need that community. And I think people need other people to feel encouraged and supported. And it's so true. We all have different skill sets and things that we've, whether it's studied or learned or are part of our personality, and being open that we're not going to know everything, but we have the ability to learn from people that have walked that road before.
And it also is for the person living with dementia. I mean, I like you fine, Nicole, but I don't know that I'd want to spend 24/7 with you. Neither you wouldn't want to spend it with, I mean, it's like, okay, well, let's, if I get too determined that you're the only person for me, then I'm building a prison for myself as a carer, not recognizing, I've got to get him used to some other folks because I got to get sleep. I've got to go to the bathroom. I've got to figure out how to open this box up. So both of us have other people to get support from. This is not going to help them in the long run if I'm the only person and then I give out. Right. I've got to start opening this box up. And it may be really uncomfortable at first, but the only way it's going to get comfortable is to work on it.
There are, and this kind of maybe goes around those misconceptions, but I think there are certain stigmas in place around dementia in general. And how do we bring change to start to destigmatize that?
Yeah. Well, sometimes I think it's the words that we use. So, I mean, the older phrase is she's demented. And some people still say that, she's demented. And it's like, well, she's living with a lot of brain changes. I mean, and so learning some new language, boy, there are a lot of brain changes going on here. And I'm having to really change to match that. Or to look at, I think what she has is some neurodegeneration. Her neurons are degenerating. Wow, that must be hard to deal with. I wonder if all of them are going at the same time, or if there are still some that are working pretty well, and maybe there's even ones that can learn and fire up that haven't been used ever, or maybe only rarely get used. And it's like, because now I just opened up a new conversation. Rather than, she's got dementia, and everybody goes, oh no, they won't be themselves anymore. And pretty soon they won't even know you. And, before too long, they won't be able to do anything. And it's like, well, no, wait a minute. Some dementias, the person actually never loses recognition of people important to them. Some dementias, the person doesn't lose motor skill until the very, very late state. Yeah. And some dementias, actually, the person still keeps the ability to be engaged in a variety of ways that have value. And so, we just have so many, like we think, I mean, honestly, I think we think more Charles Manson when we think someone living with dementia, and he didn't have dementia.
Yeah.
I mean, he had psychoses, and he certainly needed more help earlier in his life than he got. But still, we think of people doing things that are violent or horrendous. And it's like that actually, a lot of those things get triggered by what we do or don't do and where people are and what happens to them. And if we just see that, we truly believe that people are dangerous when they get dementia. And it's like, what's dangerous is not supporting people well.
And looking at how our actions can affect those interactions. Yeah.
How our words. I mean, Nicole, I bet if I said you, what are you doing?
I'd be taken aback. Yeah. Oh, what just happened?
Well, don't. And then I say, okay, let me help you. How many would you like? No, I don't want your help. I mean, leave me alone.
Yeah.
I mean, and yet, if I did voice recordings around care, I would hear a lot of that language. So, I mean, I think we set ourselves up to be the bad guy, and then we're surprised when the person treats us like the bad guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, instead I go, oh, hey, Nicole.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and all of a sudden, like, I'm waiting because I want to see, will you go, yeah? Because I've got you curious.
Yeah.
And now we can go someplace different. I go, oh, right here. Feel right here.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting, looks like maybe something got stuck over here.
Okay.
Yeah. Tell you what.
I got
Come
that.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very different. Nicole, no. Don't smear that on. What are you doing? Oh my gosh. Nicole.
Yeah, that's more alarming. And you feel like you did something wrong, and then that guilt creeps in. What happened?
And hide. I don't want, oh no, what did I do? I didn't do anything. And then I either get angry or sad or scared or get away from me. And I don't think that's our intent, but unfortunately, we can trigger it for sure.
I value how when you put together the GEMS model, and for people that are not familiar, it's a model that was developed by you that walks people through those different stages, and they can find more information on your website. But what I loved about that is you, rather than stating all of the deficits that occur and that we have, you focus on those remaining abilities of the person, so we can highlight, okay, here's actually what they still can do and absorb and all of that, shifting that perspective on that.
So I could say, she doesn't have a whole lot of words. She doesn't understand most of what I say. I could say, well, she gets the rhythm of my speech, and she can pick up on things if I give a very simplified message and combine it with some visual. So if I said, hey, Nicole, would you like me to get you a cup of coffee? Would you like a cup of coffee? You might not be able to pick up on all that, because what you might be comprehending is, I got a cup of coffee. Would you like a cup of coffee?
Yeah.
And your brain goes, huh?
What?
And then my next strategy is, no, I want to have a coffee. And instead I go, ooh.
I see the cup. Yeah. Oh, that looks really good. I know what that is. Yeah. All right, let's go.
And it's just like, oh, so if I know that she has this challenge and she has this ability, if I do this thing, then I can get her abilities to kick in while I'm recognizing what's not possible. I support what is. And sure enough, cha-ching, we go someplace.
Yeah, can progress, move forward. Well, when I was thinking about our conversation today, it was so hard to narrow it down. I'm like, oh my word, we could talk about so many things and endless topics, and that just really highlights the deep need for what you do. There's so many families that have so many questions. And so I'll walk through some common questions that I've experienced. For quite a few years, I call her my friend, and we I would spend time. Her family lived out of state, so I would go in a couple times a week, and she lived in a memory care, and we would just visit. Most of the time, she loved to dance and sing, so we spent a lot of our time dancing and singing. But just understanding there's certain kind of common questions that might come up and things that arise. So we'll talk about a little bit of that today. But one you touched on, which was I want to go home, or how do I tell mom that she's moving and we're moving to a different location when there might not be that understanding of what's happening.
Yeah. So I'm recognizing that mom needs more support than the environment she is in provides. I'm also recognizing that the environment she she doesn't even recognize at this moment as the home that she's lived in for a good while. And the helpers that are available are not able to provide the support she needs. So, I mean, it's beyond where we can go here. So I know a different location is required. So one of the things I'll often talk with families about is, have you tried having her go with you to a hotel for, a day to see what happens when she's in an unfamiliar place with unfamiliar people, just to see how that affects her? Because, hey, mom, I made arrangements for us to go somewhere and stay somewhere for a couple days, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm so hopeful that you will come with me for a little bit. I want us to go do some things, and I want us to check this place out. See what you think. I literally would encourage people to think about going somewhere that's unfamiliar to the person. That's sort of like a hotel where what do you have in a hotel? So, Nicole, what's in a hotel that's similar?
Yeah, you've got your bed and a bathroom, all of those things we'd also have in our bedroom or our home.
Yeah. And what do you have that's different than your home that is more common when you're living in a memory care or facility or residential?
It's all in one room. And a hallway. You've got
and then you have this hallway, and there are these other doors that you're not supposed to go in because they're not your room. And there's sort of a common lobby, and there's like kitchen, but frequently you're not supposed to be in the kitchen, and there's a front door. And so it gives me a sense, there's an elevator frequently if there's going to be an elevator. So it helps me appreciate what might happen for someone if we put them in an unfamiliar environment. So I can have sort of like, okay, let's take it a piece at a time. Let's see what happens here, so that she's not going and getting surprise, here you go. Yeah. It's really me checking out her reactions and responses. And I might be impressed that her world has gotten so small that as long as there's a familiar person there at first, she'll stay there and she's not bothered by it, and she'll go down with me to the lobby or I want to go home immediately. Well, I'll know, ooh, boy, okay, we got some more work to do before this is going to work very well.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And so I think rather than saying, Mom, we've got to move you somewhere, or not saying anything at all and dropping her off and saying, I got to get out of here because she's going to freak out. I mean, I believe in, developing things that make sense. And if you haven't done anything like this, I think it's worth a try before you get stressed out with it. Let's just see what happens. And maybe then the next time you don't go with her to the hotel. Guess who does? Somebody different. And we see what happens if it's a different person in a different place with her. How does that work for her? And that allows the different person to start to learn about your mom too, and learn how that works. Because I think we expect people living with dementia to agree to go on a cruise ship for the rest of their lives without any signing up for the cruise, without any checking out who else is on the cruise, without ever being able to get off the ship again, and with a crew that they have that may or may not be very skillful and very responsive. Yeah. I may have somebody I know drop in occasionally, but it's like, whoa, you're going back? Well, take me with you.
Right.
Because, why would I want to stay on the cruise ship if you're going home?
I love the hotel idea because it does seem similar to what moving would look like and what those environments are. That's a great idea.
Yeah, because it's rare that you can trick a person living with dementia into believing that when they've moved into a community, that's their new home. I mean, it looks just like my place. It is like my house. Yeah. Nothing different. Boy, I just slipped right in there. It felt right at home.
So different. Yes. It is.
The bathroom's not even in the same place. The kitchen, where's my kitchen? I need to cook something.
Yeah.
Oh, not anymore. Wait.
Yeah, everything changes. It does. And along those lines, where, this I've heard it does happen in the home that they might have been in for a while, but also if
Yep.
they've moved, that whole
Yep.
question of, I want to go home.
Yeah.
And being able
Yeah.
to.
So, okay, Nicole, when you want to go home, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you've surely been in a situation where it's been a long day. You just want to go home.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you're looking for when you get home. What is it you're looking for when you get, what does it mean? I want to go home. What are you telling me in that moment?
I want to change into my comfortable clothes.
Okay.
I
Yep.
might want to lay down. I want
Oh,
to
you're tired.
see my
Okay.
kids. I
Um,
might get a snack.
what if I were to say, no, I need you to stay here for a whole nother day without going home?
I would be sad and probably very frustrated.
And do you think you might at some point decide, I'll just wait till her back is turned? Because so the idea of wanting to go home is inherent in being a human being. So if I do it even in a familiar environment, what it says is, I want to be back in a space and a time and in a situation where I know what to do. I feel comfortable. I feel like myself. I'm having a hard time finding myself. I'm having a hard time finding comfort. I don't know what to do. I don't know where the people I should be seeing are. Oh, I have something I'm supposed to do and I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And some people might say, I need to get to work. I can't stay here. I've got to get to work. People are waiting for me. I mean, it speaks to a sense of, guess what? I don't want to be here with you doing this. So it's like, okay, so I got to pick this apart a little bit. So if you were to say, I want to go home. I'll go ahead and give it.
I want to go home.
You're wanting to go home. Now, do you want to just get out of here or you want to head somewhere?
I want to go home.
Now, what did I get you to do? What did I get you to do in that moment?
I was nodding my head and I was going, nope, I really want to go home. I'm getting more determined
just want out of here.
now.
You are done with this place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if you were to go, is there something you want to do at home or something you just want to get comfortable where you're going?
I'd like to change into my comfortable sweatpants.
Oh, yeah. It's about that time, huh? Where you're ready to switch out. Yeah, I don't blame you. Now, hey, listen, Nicole, I think I might have a pair of more comfortable pants, sort of like the ones you like. Can we go take a look and see if I can even at least help a little bit?
Yeah, let's go do that.
Let's go check it out. Yeah. So, I may need to get you a cup of hot chocolate. I may need to, but what it does is it gives me something to offer you to make this feel less uncomfortable. I mean, I can't fix your brain changes, but I can make your brain less distressed. And that's really what my goal should be.
Yeah, the ultimate of trying to ease that distress and make that person feel comfortable.
Yeah. And so say, Nicole, you are home. I mean, because then I'm denying your reality, which is basically, no, I'm not. I mean, what are you talking about? This is not my home. And it's like, oh.
Yeah. And I think I remember learning that from you, is finding that term is really, we're asking for comfort. We're saying, I want to grasp onto those things that make me feel like I'm at home.
Yeah, I'm really uncomfortable, or even worse, I'm in pain. This is painful for me to be here. I want to be with my husband. I want to be with my kids. I have a job and I'm not doing it. I'm lost. I'm scared. And so it's really sort of painful for me. I might be in pain. I might need to go to the bathroom and I'm not comfortable doing it here. I mean, whatever it is, I've got to get really super curious about your desire to be somewhere and not here, or with somebody and not me, or doing something and it isn't what we're doing, or actually doing something because it's change of shift and there's not a lot of people and you're seeing us all be busy, but you don't have anything to do.
You're wondering, why are they rushing to this spot? Do I need to be there? Am I missing something I'm not participating in? Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah. Fear of missing out,
Right. And we all have that instinctively when we know something's happening and I'm not included.
Why is everybody busy but me? Right. I mean, I'm always busy. Jeez. Or I'm tired of being busy. I'm ready to get out of this place. These people are crazy.
Yeah. Exactly. There's the other side, or not the other side, but where we might be in our home or maybe we've moved, but we do know that we have certain things that we do. And one of those is using the restroom.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes up where dad is maybe utilizing the garbage can or the
The
corner of the
corner.
room,
Yeah.
different type scenarios. And I understand care partners feel frustrated that why is my dad not using the restroom like he's done for so many years? How would you encourage people in that?
So here's the good news. Dad's brain, when he feels his bladder stretch, goes, "Ooh, you need to empty that or you'll be incontinent." Okay, so his brain is still registering, "Ooh, this is a situation you want to be in control of." And so his desire is to get it out in a place other than in his clothing. So, I mean, unfortunately, in this condition, there does come a time when he doesn't have that skill anymore. So this is still a skill. But what we see it as is as a challenge or a problem. And it's like, well, it is, because what he's missing now is, how do I hold off on that until I get to a private space? And what his brain does is say, okay, where can I find a place to put pee? I gotta go now. Where can I find a spot to put it? And so guys are built particularly. Women do it too, but they do a hide and squat. Men are more, they just whip it out and go somewhere because that's how we work.
Right.
You just unzip, you flip, and you drip, and then you just flip it and put it back away. I mean, they don't have to undress to go to the bathroom.
Right.
So what they start doing is looking. And so what I want to start doing is keeping track of how long after a meal, or how long after drinking, or how long after moving around, or how long after do I start to notice a pattern? Or do I start to notice that he starts walking up and down the hall a little bit? And that's when I go, "Oh, hey, John. Hey, it's Teepa. Yeah. Oh, can you do me a big favor? I could use your help."
Okay.
Yeah. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to try to go to the bathroom very frequently, because by then, guess what the bathroom has become? Battleground.
Yeah.
There are too many other things we're trying to do in the bathroom that aren't pleasant, like bathe or change or do stuff like that, mouth care, face care, shaving. I mean, there's all kinds of things that happen in that little room. So what I might actually start thinking about in the community or in my house is, let's take him outside. Because where do guys go when you don't know where else to? You go outside.
Yeah.
You go on a tree. You go behind a bush. So what we start thinking about is, let's set up an outdoor space, and maybe you can put a bucket there. Maybe you can put something, and I usually try like kitty litter or something. Can we get a smell, absorber in a plastic bag and over the edge? But what I'm really looking for is, can I get them to go with me to a safe space to go do that? And then I put my hand on the shoulder and just turn away, give them some quote unquote privacy.
Yeah.
But that whole idea of getting to a space where it's okay to be. And if I can't get that far, then I may look, can I notice the clues? Can I pick up on the schedule? Because I can't fix the person, because they're actually using what they have left.
Yeah.
And so I want to acknowledge that and go, okay. I mean, one of the most, for me, would be frustrating things is to put me in a onesie and have the zipper run up the back. So I know I need to go and not be able to get out of my clothing.
Yeah.
That to me is actually really scary. And if I come to you and you won't take it off for me, and then I don't understand why you're not helping me, and then I get angry.
That is so distressing. I even sit on an airplane on the aisle because I want to feel like I can get up and use.
I don't want to bother anybody. I just want to be able to take care of my business.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. And just the idea of looking at actually the fact that there's still that ability to want to empty and use the restroom is that looking at that positive.
Yeah. And it's hard because, how many of us, when we really want to go, want somebody watching us or intervening with us or trying to take over? It's like, that's, you got to know somebody really well to say, here, let me put this under your penis and here, pee in this. It's like, what?
Yeah. Oh, so true.
I got it.
So true. It really is. Yeah, that dignity and just giving them the independence where they can have that.
Yeah, and re-looking at what we view as social norms. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I mean, I know there's plenty of kids who are learning to go to the bathroom, man. If you can get them to pee outside of their clothing, hey, any port in a storm, you figure out
Right.
real quick. It's like, okay, let me shield from me and other people, and let's just get this done so that we can move
Exactly.
on in our day. Because that
Right.
is not the highlight of my day.
My little guy, my son, he would
Uh-huh.
always go out to our back deck. It's like here, there's multiple bathrooms available, and he'd run outside, pee off
My
the
son,
deck.
yeah, we had that problem after a hurricane where we lost power and water for
Mm.
like several days in
Oh
a row.
my.
And then when we started getting the power, we had our power and water back. It was like, what are you doing? He
Hmm.
was like, I'm going to pee. It's like, no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no, no, you're not.
Right, right. I know. I'm
Here
sure
he
the
says,
neighbors.
it's easier out here. It's like,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, so common. We share that. Do you find there are
We should
other
reveal that we both live in the woods, though. We do
exactly.
live out
We
in the
do live
country,
in the woods, yes.
just in case.
So fun. What are some other common topics that we won't maybe go in depth with all of them, but that if people are thinking of, okay, this has been a challenge for me, that they can find that support in what you do.
Yeah. I just put this shirt on.
Mm.
No, you didn't. I don't know, on for 3 days. So that sense of I've just done something because it's a habit. I did it every morning for how many years? And all of a sudden, I no longer know whether I've just done it or it's been 3 weeks since I
Mm.
did it because of the damage in my hippocampal area. I don't know
Mm.
how long it's been, but I think I've just done it because, of course, why would I get up and why wouldn't I? I mean, if it's fine.
Yeah.
And if we combine it with some visual change where I can't really pay attention to anything but the center field, then when I look down, I don't notice that what you see because I think it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also not noticing my body odor. And it's like, how could she not notice? And it's like, well, my brain is somewhat broken. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't notice a lot of things. I don't notice smoke. I don't notice gas. I don't notice, urine or feces possibly. So it's like spoiled food. So it's like, oh, yeah. Or I don't need any help. I'm fine. No one needs to help me. I know how to do this. And it's like, oh. Or on the other side of the coin, no, I'm not going to go to art class. Half those people down there and don't know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so interpretation on my part, she's scared she'll make a mistake. She's watched people down there and she's like, I'm not taking that risk. I've always been good at art. And you know what? I'd rather not do art, make a mistake doing art, and then lose my sense of competence.
Mm-hmm.
Or, the other one is, listen, have you seen my husband? And my husband is gone. He's dead. Mm-hmm. He has been dead for 5 years. I'm looking for someone who no longer is on this earth. I'm looking for my mom. And again, wondering what it is about them. So you're looking for your husband. Do you need him for something? You're just wanting to talk to him. What do you need? I got to figure out more. What is it about the husband rather than, oh, Teepa, or he's at work. What's he doing at work? Because I thought he was going to be here. I just talked to him a few minutes ago. And you're going, uh-oh, he hasn't been here. Yes, he was. I was just talking to him because my memory of how long it's been since he and I had a conversation, I've lost 5 years. I mean, if I think he's still around, be careful because you don't always know what my story is.
Those are really good scenarios and things that happen all the time. So definitely
we can just keep going because, the thing about dementia, it's like, and there's ever more challenges that we're going to face. And the question is, so how do we resolve it from a challenge to, oh, okay, well, let's try this. Mm-hmm. Once we start seeing things as there's a pattern here.
Mm-hmm. Your mention of just being curious about, let's talk more about that and find out, okay, what are some of those clues of what you're looking for and missing? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What time did Dad used to get home from work? Mm-hmm. What did he do when he got home? Mm-hmm. What was your mom's pattern in the afternoon? Mm-hmm. And when do the kids get off the bus? I mean, trying to do some learning about people, like what's your dad's job? What did he do? Oh, he was an executive. Oh, that's why he's bossing everybody about. I mean, that's why he's telling you lazy, get up. And it's like, you don't sit around here all day long and get paid. And it's like, oh dear. But it's, I mean, he's writing the paycheck, and he's really like, you don't sit around and waste my money. It's like, yeah. Oh, you're really not liking everybody just sitting around. Yeah. You know what? Let me see what I can do to get that dealt with, because this isn't working for you. You know what? Could you help me fill out a report on this? I bet you know how to fill out reports on complaints. So tell me a little bit about what you observed.
Well, they were just sitting on the couch watching TV.
So hang on, I want to get it all down. So they were sitting or lying on the couch because you were, and what's happening now is I've got you working with me instead of yelling at them or doing something. And it's like, oh, and it's important enough I'm writing it down. Now, how many of us like things to be what we say to be important enough that somebody writes it down?
Yes, so much.
Tell you what, sign this, because I'm going to send this in to let people know what's going on here, because I think you're very observant.
Okay. Thank you for taking notes on that.
Absolutely. You know what? And I think we should make arrangements for something. Listen, could you do me a big favor? I would appreciate you coming down the hall with me, because I want to turn this in at the office.
Okay, let's go.
Now you're not looking at the people sitting on the couch anymore. And then maybe I get back and say, is it possible you can get folks up and dancing? Could you put some music on and see if we can get some stuff happening?
Now I'm on a mission of change.
Yeah.
There are so many resources that you provide. And before we get into that, you pour into so many people every day. I would like to know, how do you fill up your cup? What do you do to recharge your soul?
Well, there's decaf coffee.
Yeah.
And I like it. I like that nice dark roast because I like the aroma and the flavor. There's also hiking, jogging, I would say running, but that would be a fake. Jogging, walking. I also love being outside. I like to work in the yard. I love to bake and cook and help create things. I like to create stuff. I like to read. I do some meditation. I try to do something that's fun for myself every day. I mean, those are some possibilities. Yoga, stretching, those kind of things.
Yeah, staying active. It's so good. So here's a big question. Are you a basketball fan?
Oh, that's just sort of mean right now.
I'm so sorry. But what I really want...
I'm a college basketball fan. You can't live in North Carolina and not be a basketball fan, I don't think.
I was rooting for your team last night.
Well, my challenge was I went to Duke, I went to UNC.
Yes. So how was that game? What did you do?
Well, my husband only went to Duke.
Okay.
And is a very loyal fan. My son, Duke fan, 2 daughters, UNC fans.
Oh, you guys are split. So you're the tiebreaker.
I'm the tiebreaker, and I try to stay neutral.
Yeah.
But it was exciting. The games were all exciting. They were all well played.
Yeah.
I mean, all 4 teams actually were really remarkable.
Yeah.
It is a game. I know it's hard to remember. It is a game, and it does build a lot of energy. But boy, we saw some remarkable skill sets of coaches, of players, and it's fun. I mean, my favorite were actually the Peacocks, who came from nowhere and really held on and made a difference in the tournament for a long time.
I agree. I was really cheering them on and watched those games. And I wanted them to pull it off so badly. I'm always rooting for the underdog, though. I feel like I gravitate towards that. I know. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for chatting with me about that. Yeah. It's so fun. When you said Duke and then I knew you were in North Carolina, I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
We got to talk about that.
It was a big deal around here. I stay away from those kind of stuff. It's that's too intense for me.
Yeah. All really good games. And just to see the talent and the teamwork, and it just is fun to watch. It's fun to watch. So how can people learn more about you and find what you're doing? If you also, I would love for you to just share what support is available and what you guys provide.
So we have anything we do for free is called a resource. So we have resources that are products, like things you can get and have, like paper and videos and clips. We also have services that are free. So every morning I'm on Facebook for Teepa for 10, and multiple times a week we do free live at 5 on Facebook, or we do it also on YouTube. We offer once a month, we do Ask Teepa Anything or Dementia Problem Solving with the PAC team. We do Brain Connection Cafe on Monday afternoon. I mean, and these are all things that are free, and we do all this stuff for free. And then we have a presence on TikTok. We have a presence on YouTube. We have it on Instagram. We have it on LinkedIn. And we respond to people. We've also put things out on those platforms. And then we have things like streaming videos, and we have a service that you can do, a monthly service, a clip service, or you could do just getting some DVDs or books. I mean, we have all kinds of stuff, depending on who you are and what you're looking for.
You do. And I have participated and have watched many of those and always learned something new every time. It's been enriching for my life and career. So thank you for all of the time and energy that you put into that. And this made my year, honestly, being able to talk with you. So thank you so much for your time today.
You are so welcome, and thanks for what you're doing, outreach that you're providing, because it is mostly, honestly, by word of mouth and word of connection that we start to build this community of inclusion, and the community that is making a difference in the lives of people living with dementia, their families, their professionals, and the community. So thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Teepa. Thank you for listening today. If you enjoyed our episode, please subscribe and give us 5 stars. In all honesty, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for listening to our episode. And now time for an ad break. So I have to tell you about my friend Jimmy Zolo and his new company, Joe and Bella. Jimmy is passionate about older adults. He told me that after both of his grandparents moved into a care community, his family's world has turned upside down and they really became caregivers overnight. As you know, being a caregiver to someone close to you can be overwhelming, and there's so much to manage, like making sure your loved one has all of the products they need, keeping things stocked when things run out. And Jimmy's family also had that same problem. They were scrolling through all of these product reviews online, unsure what would be the best to purchase. It can be really time consuming and frustrating, and he wished there was a simpler way to shop for his grandparents. Jimmy decided to launch his own business to solve this problem. He founded Joe and Bella to make shopping for older adults simple. They carry everything from comfy shoes to creative gifts, even toiletries that can automatically be reordered, and technology that makes caregiving easier. And what I love, and I know you guys will too, is that each and every product on Joe and Bella has been carefully selected by caregiving experts. Jimmy is giving an exclusive offer to listeners of this podcast. You can use promo code GATHER to receive 10% off your first purchase at joeandbella.com. That code is GATHER, GATHER, for 10% off at joeandbella.com.